G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the YouTube channel. How are we all doing on this lovely day? Today we are talking about another favourite motorcycle amongst beginner riders, and that is the Kawasaki Vulcan S. Now before we get into the video, ladies and gents, g'day, my name is Nathan. I make videos about motorcycles and you guys seem to enjoy them, so I'm going to keep on posting them. But let's get this out of the way. I'm just talking about the standard Kawasaki Vulcan S, the 2025 model. Yes, I'm aware there's a cafe model that comes with the fairing and all that, but I'm only focusing on the standard one for today. Alright, so let's get right into it. It's got the famous Kawasaki 649cc parallel twin. Everybody loves this engine and loves to make fun of this engine. It's a little outdated, I'll give it that, but for beginners it's completely fine. If we're talking strictly about the Lambs motorcycle, it's pushing 35 kilowatts or just 47 horsepower, and it makes that at about 6,600 RPM. It makes 53 newton meters of torque, or 39 pound-feet at 5,600 RPM. Look, you can de-restrict this bike, and the older models are a little bit easier to de-restrict if you're interested in that stuff. The old one, you just literally pull something out of the fuse box, I think, and that's it. It's de-restricted. And then it makes around 60-ish horsepower, and I think the older one has a bit more torque when you're de-restricted, but I could be wrong in that regard. Look, the engine note of this bike is iconic for its lawnmower-ish sound. It's the same sort of note as the Honda Rebel. It pushes like that lawnmower thing, you know, it's a 180 degree crank. It's not the most exciting engine in the world, but they're fine. I've experienced these engines, they go fine, they've got enough oomph for your cruising, and look man, if you're just looking for a get around motorcycle and you don't want to spend big bucks for a big cruiser, this bike will do you wonders. It's also Japanese and it probably won't break, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff there as well. It has dual throttle valves, and I believe it's a cable throttle. Look man, simple. Simplicity works wonderfully, okay? Also, this motorcycle is chain driven, so if you don't like chains, unfortunate for you. If you want a good beginner learner motorcycle with a belt, the CF Moto CLC comes with a belt drive. But if you don't care about chains, most of the beginner cruisers come with chains, man. Unfortunate for the newer ones, but hey look, they work. More power to the wheel, baby. When you haven't got much power to use, you might as well get as much as you can to the ground. It's a 6-speed as well. Like most bikes these days, you don't get many 5-speeds. I think the Indian Scout 60 is a 5-speed, and that's the only 5-speed of the newer bikes I really know about. But hey man, pretty standard beginner bike, okay? Now, being a cruiser, unlike the Rebel, this one's got your more standard cruiser setup. You get your forward controls, the bar's nice and low. A lot of people do opt for ape hangers on these bikes, because look, having the comfort of a cruiser is sort of the appeal, as opposed to the Honda Rebel, which is more of that naked one. And the reason I'm making that comparison is because before the Eliminator came out, this was the bike a lot of people went back and forth between. Obviously now with the Eliminator, I'll do another video on that one later on, but this is the original comparison, alright? So when I got my bike, the Eliminator wasn't even a thought yet. It wasn't revealed, it didn't exist. So this was the one even I was debating between. So, dash on this bike's pretty standard. You get a needle for the RPM, which everybody likes old school dashes on bikes, man. You got a digi-dash for your speed, you got your clock, your fuel, your gear, and your odometer. You got your indicator light on each side, unlike my bike, which is just one. You get one for left and for right. Doesn't really matter. You're not really going to be making that mistake on bikes. But if you see it flashing, obviously you click your button and it goes away. Pretty standard stuff, man. Look, standard forks in this bike, they're the right way up, not inverted, which everybody seems to love more, which is fair enough. They are better that way, but it's a cruiser. You get 130 mils of travel up the front, 80 mils of travel at the rear. Pretty standard stuff. It's nothing mind-blowing. It'll do the job. Steering angle of 35 degrees. I couldn't find a lean angle for this one, but with the forward controls, the lean angle is probably not going to be phenomenal. Probably be around that 30 degree-ish mark, but I could be wrong. If you know it to the T, please leave it in the comments, because I couldn't find it anywhere. You do get a 14-litre fuel tank. Plenty for this size engine. You'll get plenty of kilometres out of it. I'm pretty sure you can get like 250, 300 kilometres out of it if you're really careful on your throttling, just pinning it everywhere. They're small engines. You don't need all the fuel in the world. It'll go for ages, and being Japanese, it'll last forever too. So just keep that in mind. If you're a short ass, don't you worry too much, ladies and gentlemen. It's the seat height of 705 mils, or just shy of 28 inches. Nice and low. You'll get bent knees to the ground. You're not going to be struggling to really stand it up. Unless you're 3 foot nothing, you should be fine sitting on this bike, alright? Front tyre is a 120/70 R18M/C 59H. The rear tyre is a 160/60 R17M/C 69H. Look, I reckon this bike would have suited the 180, but they're not going to put that on a bike of this price range. But it would have been nice, and I know you can modify them to look really good. Some of the modified custom versions of this motorcycle are gorgeous. And look, you got to put a bit of money into them, and it might not be worth it, but if this is a bike you want forever, oh, some of the custom builds of this are to die for. You get a 300mm brake disc up front with a dual piston caliper, pretty standard. 250mm disc at the rear with a single piston, same as the Honda Rebel. Look, the stopping power isn't going to blow you out of the water, but for a bike of this size and dimension, it'll be more than enough. I don't really think you're going to be struggling to come to a halt, okay? The bike isn't huge like some of the other cruisers out there. You get a wet weight of about 226 kilos. That's not bad. I think the Cafe is maybe 10 kilos more. Look, you're not going to struggle. It's 30-ish kilos more than the Honda Rebel. Yeah, nothing, mate. Peanuts, as they say. The rake on this motorcycle is about 31 degrees. Wheelbase is 1575mm, and it makes about 130 mils of ground clearance. So nice and low, not too ridiculously long. Overall length though is 2.3 meters or 2,310 millimeters. It's physically long, but the wheelbase isn't too bad, is what I really mean. Width is about 880 mils, and it's 1100 mils tall. It's quite a decent size, but small size cruiser, if you understand what that is. It's not as big as a V-Star or a Harley, but it's not as small as a Honda Rebel. Personally, I didn't like the way the bike looked when I first saw it. I thought the older models looked a bit too plasticky. But now that I've seen it a bit more, it's not too bad. Depending on what color you want, if you want a glossy one or a matte one, it really changes up the look of this motorcycle. The stock exhaust, nice and tucked under the motorcycle as well. Some of the aftermarket ones do make it look really nice though. Okay, so fortunately or unfortunately, you don't get many color options on this bike. Now, for some reason, on the website, there's two Kawasaki Vulcan S's for the 2025 model. It doesn't seem to have any difference between the models. They just seem to be the same thing. But you do get two different color choices between the two. The first one I looked at was a metallic flat spark. It's just black, you know, and the other one is a metallic matte graphite grey. It's a bit of an interesting look, but that's your color choices. Now, that's pretty much all I could find on the website about this motorcycle, so the rest of this video is going to be based on what I've seen and what I've been told about these bikes. They're comfortable motorcycles, alright? If you want more of a long distance thing compared to the Rebel and you're comparing about the two, I'd say go for the Kawasaki. If you're a taller individual, this bike will suit you better than the Honda Rebel or the Eliminator. Even the CLC, honestly, with those mid-controls. Not made for the smaller riders. You will still fit on them pretty comfortably, being smaller, but you might find the forward controls being a bit annoying, but sit on it, and if you can get a test ride on it, give it a test ride. They're popular for a reason. They're not horrible motorcycles, they're just a bit bland, if that makes sense. But not every motorcycle needs to be stupidly characteristic or playful. They're still going to get you from A to B. They're still going to do it comfortably, and you can still do decent hauls on it. The stock seat's probably going to have to be changed into something a bit softer, a bit more plump. Handlebars, you might want to get a little bit of a mini ape. But as a whole, everyone I've talked to who's ridden one of these bikes says good things about them. A lot of other people, when they have a nice exhaust on them, they'll complain saying it's boring. But let's be honest, all exhausts and all engines have their own particular sound. Some people like the parallel twins, some don't. It's just a matter of preference, man. I don't mind it. I don't think it's that boring. I do wish the engine got a bit of an update, because a lot of the 650s out there or whatnot in the CCs can probably push a bit more power. I mean, look at the Aprilia 660. That engine pushes like 100 horsepower, but this is only pushing... Well, I know this is a Lambs one we're doing the main video on. It's only pushing 47, but even the full power version of this bike's only 60-ish horsepower. It's not that much. Yes, it's better, and having that little bit of horsepower difference will increase your fun and, you know, longevity of the motorcycle, but they're not designed for that stuff. It's a cruiser, alright? You don't need the most high-power cruiser. It's a cruiser. You just need it to have a good amount of torque, get up to the speed limit, and be able to pass people on the highways. This bike will be able to do all of those things pretty comfortably. And the best part is, if you get an older model and you sort of get comfortable, you can de-restrict it by just going unplug, alright? And the newer one, you can still unrestrict it, but it's a bit more of a, you know, headache. But it's not the end of the world. So, if you're looking at this as your first motorcycle, I'd say go for it. It's absolutely a phenomenal bike. You will enjoy the ride. You will get all your money's worth out of it. And who knows, you might buy it and then change your mind later on, but the resale value of these things is pretty good still, because like most learner bikes, they hold their value. Full power bikes go down very fast. Learner bikes, they hold that value for ages unless you really run it through the dirt. being Japanese, it'll last you forever as well. So if you just want a good little get-around bike and you have your other bike, phenomenal. If it's your first bike, phenomenal. They are spectacularly made machines, but they are just a little bit bland. And that's just the fact of the matter. But some people like that. I didn't mind it. I just didn't like how it looked when I first really got to sit there and looking at it. And that's fine. That's a preference thing. It's not the fault of the motorcycle. It was purely just at the time I looked at it and went, nah, I like the Rebel more. So you might look at the Rebel and go, You might look at the Eliminator and go, cool. Or you might look at the Vulcan and go, that's what I'm after. So it's all a preference thing. Go out there, take a seat on it. You won't be disappointed, but if you are coming from a bigger bike, you might be a little underwhelmed. But that's pretty standard going to these smaller bikes. It's like hopping on a 250 after 1,000, being like, she's lacking. All right? Look at it with a normal amount of intelligence and you'll understand it's not too bad. But I do like the simplicity of the dash on the bike. I like the needle. It's always nice. The seating position is very comfortable on this bike. I loved it. And honestly, if you're doing a little bit longer rides, maybe an hour or two every day, I would pick this probably over the Honda Rebel, unless you modify the Rebel to be a little bit more comfortable. But yeah, this one is definitely the more comfy of the two. And honestly, it's just a good little beginner cruiser bike, and that's it. It's concrete. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's a great beginner cruiser motorcycle. And if you're looking to get into that spectrum of cruisers, start with it. It's good. It's good. You might not like the forward controls. You might love it. And this is like dipping your toe in the pool, testing the waters. If you don't like it, you can always trade it or sell it and get something else. But if this is what you think you're after, dive in, get on it, go for a ride, enjoy yourself. But if you do have one, or if you're thinking about one, you've ridden one, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, ladies and gents. Even if you haven't ridden one and you've just seen them around, tell me what you think of it. I'm open to discussion and all that stuff. I'm not going to be mean about it. But that's it from me. Let me know your comments. Join the Discord down below as well. Cop yourself some merch. And ladies and gentlemen, take it easy. Keep it cheesy. Have a wonderful day and peace. Bye.